Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Dr. Chris Featherstone here for yet another episode of UnSKripted. Of course, I would typically do my fun intro, but definitely a somber moment, somber evening today with the passing of Jay Briscoe at only 38 years old. Of course, as a journalist, we have to deal with the tough issues and we have to talk about them. That's the pro and the con about being a journalist is that you have to tough it out and talk about even the most tragic things. But at the end of the day, people do want to hear someone say things about it and someone comment about it and people's thoughts about it from a journalistic standpoint. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring in my friend, my colleague, and Sportskeeda's own fellow legendary journalist, Bill Apter. How are you today?
Well, thank you very much, Chris, for having me unfortunately, on this very somber and sad occasion. Such a young man, Jay Briscoe. So I had the opportunity to hang out with he and his brother, of course, backstage at Ring of Honor quite a bit. And the thing that on the personal end here, he was such a nice, sweet, fun-loving guy. I remember being at Steve Carino's wedding many years ago, and the Briscoes were there, and I had such a wonderful time with both of them. And it's just such a tragedy that such a young guy who was such a devoted family man as well has passed in an automobile accident. It's just, love your family while you can, because you never, ever know what the next minute's gonna bring.
38 too. That's the thing, just so young. And it's just you never know your last breath. And I'm a man of scripture, and James 4 talks about life being but a vapor, and just and it's so true. I was looking at a picture of just earlier this morning, less than 12 hours ago. He was he posted a picture on social media about him wearing his hat that said,
I saw that.
13 times,
I saw that.
The Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. And
it's so, when you talk about in terms of the wrestling end of this thing, he and his brother were from the start were such a perfectly fine-tuned, well-oiled machine.
Yep.
Everything they did was in uh, such such technically perfectly together.
Chemistry. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Amazing
yeah.
chemistry.
What was your favorite Briscoe brothers moment? Did you have one?
Well, I've met him. I
Yeah,
met
I
him
know.
doing,
I
yeah, I
know.
met him doing media at ROH, and just really, really nice guys, and just they both have just really eccentric personalities, and just they had some really, really good matches. I remember seeing them
Oh yeah.
in Florida when I was covering media in Orlando at that time. They had a show in Lakeland, uh,
Hmm.
and they tore the house down. They came to Columbus, a few times to do some shows, and they tore the house down then. I remember Jay in the singles run as world champion.
Yes. Yep.
Uh,
I
you know,
remember that.
yeah,
Sure.
yep, and yeah, it was good. I was a big, Jay Lethal fan, and he had an amazing match against Jay Lethal, and so
Yes, I
yeah,
remember that.
yep, yeah. So, it was one of those things that Ring of Honor saw so much in Jay, and Mark, just the froggy bow, and
Yeah.
just he had this really cool eccentric personality to him, still does, but they saw something in Jay that was just he kind of went off by himself, kind of a lone wolf. They really saw money in Jay, and he was just one of those people who was just real stern and just got to a point where he was just real menacing and
Yes. Yeah.
man, he had that
He
rough,
had that menacing
personality.
look about
Yeah,
him as well.
he
Yeah.
did, and
Yeah.
they saw money in that, and it worked. They gave him a singles run, and it was effective. It was very
And
successful.
now, where they just were reaching another pinnacle in AEW Ring of Honor
Hmm.
here, and it looked like their career was going to just reach more and more peaks, and
Yeah,
then this horrible tragedy
yeah,
that
yeah.
happened today. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Our prayers are for the family and friends of Jay. I was and also saw recently a video of him doing a choreograph with his daughter. And it was so beautiful. It was
Yeah.
such a beautiful thing, and I had a bunch of people just text me and just be in just shock and all.
The
It's
shock of his just the reaction that we can't even fathom
yeah,
of what his
yep,
family and especially his brother
yep, yep,
must be going through at
absolutely,
this point.
yep.
Is
I was just talking to Midas. I was just chatting with Midas Black.
yeah,
He had his last match with Midas Black. I was just chatting with him before the show, and he was just talking about how he's still, it's all, it's hard for him to even just really fathom that, and
of
just
course.
still hurting, from that. And so yeah, it's I don't think it's still set in to a lot of people, and it's still the moment of shock, maybe even some denial from some people as far as like, whoa, like what, like
Yeah, I mean
Jay Briscoe.
Carrie Silkin,
Mhm.
who was practically like a dad
Yep.
to both Briscoe brothers. I can't even imagine the pain that he's going through right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Has to be sad. So let's spend the last few minutes just kind of seeing where potentially Mark can go from here. I mean, what do you think, Mark? I know he's gonna spend some time to mourn. He has to. Of course, there's going to be a really, really tough transition to get back
Oh
into the wrestling
goodness,
industry, and I'm
sure.
sure that transition is going to be super
But
tough.
the best thing we can all do is, we're all fans
Yeah,
of them, and it's not as fans not to let him have his peace, let him mourn, but let's support him.
absolutely.
Let's stay behind him and let him know that he has the love of this family that we have in the wrestling business.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
I agree with that 100%. I wouldn't. if you're listening to this, I would just tag, hashtag prayers for Mark, prayers for the Briscoes, just really show your love and support via social media, via Twitter, via, Instagram, and just really spend. Because the thing is, that's the type of love and comfort that they need right now, to the people who, hearing and seeing from people who are fans of theirs, to have their
Oh
back
yeah,
and support them during
yeah,
that time.
yeah. And of course, you can leave your comments here.
Hmm.
And what was your if you have a personal moment when you've ever met Jay
Hmm.
or his brother, let us know, and
Yep.
let us know how they touched you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%. Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Well, just closing thoughts on Jay, and just the impact that he made. Just, started, I think they were like, he was like 17 or 16 or something like
Yeah,
that when
yeah, yeah.
they started. They
Oh,
were very
I'm
young.
sure they started jumping off roofs and beds
Even
and
before that. Yeah.
oh, sure, absolutely. They were both rabid wrestling
Yep.
fans.
Sure was.
And
Yeah.
as much as you could see Ring of Honor through them, you could see that ECW running
Sure
through
can.
them too.
Sure
Yeah.
could.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. They were major hardcore as a team.
Yeah.
Really, really.
And they really, here's the thing, Bill, they really kind of built themselves from scratch. You know what I mean? Like
Correct.
they weren't, they are the heart and soul of Ring of Honor, 13-time champions, and they really weren't the quintessential, aesthetically appealing tag team,
Not at all.
what I
Not
mean,
at
for
all.
people to bring in, like for people like WWE to bite, and to
No.
be immediately interested in. But despite that, they still are arguably top 10, top 15, tag teams of all time, because of their consistency over the past
Absolutely.
years, and so even without the WWE machine, to back them up over the past 20 years, they've submitted themselves for being one of the best tag teams ever.
Oh, yeah. And remember, very few people will bring this up, but they were real brothers.
Absolutely.
They're not
Exactly.
like some of these other teams that are brothers, but they're not real
Legit.
brothers. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Legit brothers.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
And
Chris,
the
thank you so
chemistry,
much for having me on
yeah. Yeah.
here and letting
Absolutely.
me share some of my feelings here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for being on the show, and let the listeners know again where to find you. You got some podcasts. You got a weekly one with
Oh
Mr.
yeah,
Tag Team General Manager, right? Speaking of
yes,
tag team
Ted,
matches,
holla, holla, yeah, with Teddy Long and Mac Davis,
yeah.
and you can follow me at Apter One Wrestling. That's the number one. I keep that handle because that's a tribute to the late great Bob Ryder, who invented OneWrestling.com and passed 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'll always keep that handle. And coming up to Sportskeeda right now is also negotiating to be at WrestleCon in some form on WrestleMania weekend. So we're trying to work out a contract with them with no tables being broken, if we
Mm,
can do that.
Have you ever
You
been
know,
to a table?
contracts always have broken tables
That's true.
eventually.
That's true. There's always
Yes,
some type of scuffle and something to
yes.
the
But
contract.
rest in peace, um, Jay Briscoe. Will the wrestling world has lost a one of their great sons, and
Yeah.
we will miss you.
Yes, indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you, Sportskeeda Nation, for banding with us, for coming and showing your support. Again, just like my friend Bill said, hey, leave your comments down. Uh, show all your comments, show your love and support via comments on this video, and maybe we'll tag the Briscoes, and maybe we'll tag this video, and they'll see just the flood of comments that showing their love and support from this video alone. So
Yeah,
be
yeah.
sure to do that.
Flood it.
Yeah,
Yeah, do
indoor.
that.
Indeed.
All right. Thank you,
Ladies and
Chris.
gentlemen, Bill Apter, Dr. Chris, this is Sportskeeda. Have a good night, everybody.
We'll see you at the matches.
So long.